Well, back to the developing story here today. The Democratic Alliance in Gauteng now saying that their mayor in Tshwane Randall Williams will stay on for several months despite his stated intent to resign. Williams first said that he would resign tonight because it was in the best interests of the multi-party coalition which is currently running the city. Now the DA says he will stay on a little longer. Williams has been under intense pressure following claims that council money had been mismanaged. And, of course, the City of Joburg changed hands when the ANC and the EFF voted against the DA administration in that council. Professor Dirk Kotze is a professor of political science at Unisa. Professor Kotze, good afternoon to you. This resignation really came as a bit of a surprise. We don't often have a resignation like this in our politics. Is it possible to know why he's really decided to step down?
Yes, it is indeed quite exceptional, although in Tshwane not. This is now the third resignation since 2016 of the DA mayor in the city. So from that point of view, you know, one has to actually investigate what is the problem with the mayors here. I think one of the main issues here is obviously the internal relationship within the coalition, especially between the DA and Action SA. There is a little bit of background about this. There's two developments, I would say, that really presented this problem to them. The first one was last year when the mayor was accused of unprocedural conduct with respect to possible renewal or renovation of the power stations here in Tshwane. The second one is now that the Auditor General's report that was released very recently and which was very negative and critical of the financial situation in the city. And the Mayor, Randall Williams, when he came to power in 2021, he said that dealing with the financial situation, rehabilitating the financial situation is one of his key priorities. So it was therefore very much in reflection on him. And the Action SA was the party that was most vociferous in their criticism of him. So what has happened now lately is that the motion of no confidence against him appeared to be also supported by Action SA, not only by the opposition parties. And this resignation, in light of what happened in Johannesburg and what is unfolding in Ekurhuleni, has been presented as a way of protecting the coalition in Tshwane.
So, I mean, what happens? He steps down. Do you expect another DA mayor to be elected? I mean, will there be a chance that the EFF and the ANC in Tshwane will now be able to unseat the DA there? It's quite a complicated political picture. It's slightly different to Ekurhuleni and Joburg, as I understand the numbers.
Yes, it's very unlikely that but that the qualification is what will happen or what will Action SA do. If Action SA stays with the DA and with the other coalition partners, then a victory for another DA mayor is almost guaranteed. Because without Action SA, the ANC and the EFF simply don't have the numbers. So it is very unlikely, and that is very different from the situation in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. And the main explanation for that is that the difference between the ANC seats and the DA seats in Tshwane is only 6. In the case of Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni, it's 20 and 21 respectively. So there's a huge gap and advantage for the ANC in those metro councils, which does not exist in the case of Tshwane. And therefore, if Action SA does not support the ANC and the EFF, a motion of no confidence is not possible.
So, I mean, we're going to now have this, and it keeps coming back to this funny relationship that the Action SA and the DA have. And, you know, they work together, but Action SA is growing increasingly critical of the Democratic Alliance. Are they trying to define themselves as different to the DA ahead of the national elections? Is it about that, perhaps?
I think that's very much the case. We all know that Action SA is to a large extent a split-away group from the DA. The Urban Mashaba and the top leadership are all coming from the DA. And what is the predicament of many of the parties who are the more junior parties in a coalition is that they are scared that they are losing their identity in the coalition because they have to cooperate with the leading party. And I think this is one of the key concerns of Action SA, is that they cannot present themselves in their own right to the public, and they want to do it. The same is, I think, is behind why the EFF tries to become now more and more involved as part of coalitions, is to present themselves as a party of government. So all these smaller parties want to position themselves for next year's election in such a way that they can go with a message or with a campaign to the public next year to maximize their support.
You made the point that this is now the third DA mayor to resign in Tshwane since 2016. And the DA likes to claim that it is better at governance than other political parties. It likes to sort of claim this is the difference between it and other parties. I mean, what's been happening in Tshwane must poke a big hole in that reputation, surely.
Yes, it is. It's certainly a reflection not only on the coalitions, because these resignations, the first two at least, had little to do with the coalition relationship. It had more to do with the mayors themselves and what they have done and what they were accused of. So in that sense, yes, it is a reflection on the quality of leadership in the city or in the metro. Whether it has to do directly with service delivery, I think that is maybe a different question. But it's certainly, in my view, a reflection on the choice of leaders in the city or in the metro council, and that the DA will have to, next time, will have to sit back and really consider who they can regard as not only a local leader but also a national leader. Tshwane is a country with a national presence, and therefore one expects that they identify ultimately a mayor who's playing not only a local metro role but can also have a national presence.
Professor Dirk Kotze, as always, thank you. Professor of Political Science at Unisa. Really appreciate the time.